Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and this time I'm going to talk you about artificial intelligence and photography. Before we begin, as usual, if you like to support the channel, put a like, subscribe and share with your friends. If you want to do something more, check out my website and you can find all my books there and see if there's a book that can interest you. And if you like these t-shirts, just follow the links down there in the description as the link to my website and check out the t-shirts, and that will be a great way to support the channel. This said, artificial intelligence and photography. It's in the last couple of weeks I hear talk about photography and artificial intelligence every moment. There are a lot of images going around. It seems to be created with some artificial intelligence that just created a photograph from scratch. And it's kind of strange, and the question that a lot of people is asking is will photography die for this traditional photography? Because if you can create a photograph, what they define as a photograph, with artificial intelligence, just a computer, so what's the meaning of doing photography? And I think that all this artificial intelligence trend is kind of over pushed to the public, that's for sure, on one side. And the other side, I find it a little bit scary because it implies that an artificial intelligence can be better than the human intelligence. And absolutely that is wrong in my opinion, but is a trend going on in the last years. The trend is to say that the humankind is the worst thing that can happen to the planet and all these kind of things. In my opinion, is the best thing that happened to the planet. The human being is the best way to control everything. But this is another story. So back to photography. We have to define what is photography. And photography, the term says it, it comes from Greek and is from phos photos, that means light, and from graphon, that is a verb that means writing or drawing. So photography is by definition the idea of writing or drawing with the light. So what does it mean? It means that we need to have the light, and we need to have a medium that is capable to be sensitive to light. That can be a film, that can be the sensor of a digital camera, that can be your skin when you go to the beach and you get a tan line. That's exactly a photograph. And if you do it intentionally, for example, putting some stamp on your skin that protects part of the skin in a specific shape, that can be absolutely a photograph. So the photograph is something that must be created with light interacting with some objects and being registered by a sensitive medium. So when we have an image created by artificial intelligence, no matter how much the look of the image is photographic, is realistic, still is not a photograph, is not something that is created using light interacting with matter and a sensitive material. Can be considered in some way a form of art, we can see that, but is not a photograph at all. And in my opinion, is not photography also when we use an original, that is a digital original, is a photograph taken with the sensor, and then we work on it with editing software so much that it changes its absence. Let me explain a little bit. If I take a picture and if I improve a little bit the contrast and all these kind of things, some very simple retouch, that can still be photography because the intervention is so minimal. But if I start to do things like changing the sky with something different, putting the Milky Way where there's no Milky Way possible, or these kind of things, that, in my opinion, is no more photography. Uh, it's kind of strange. The limit to the finder is very thin and is very strange. And by the way, we also have in the case to differentiate what is pure photography for a normal commercial use or photography for an artistic use. To combine the Milky Way, where it's not possible to see the Milky Way, for example, over a city with a lot of light pollution, that is something that can be excused and still considered a photograph if it's for an artistic use, but for sure is not ethically correct for a commercial use. So this is kind of the limit. Something that is created from scratch by a computer absolutely cannot be considered photography, also if the base starts with photography. So in my opinion, that is not photography, and that is very positive for photography because as much as this non-photography became more and more evident, more we will get back to what is photography in its original term. And that is kind of important for photography because photography, with all the digital manipulation possibles and all the digital transformation, is lost its identity for a while. So if we will get back to the identity of photography, that will be great in my opinion. So I don't consider artificial intelligence the end of photography. I consider it an opportunity to go back to our roots and define a modern way to describe what is the real photography, what is that is created with light interacting on an object and registered by a light sensitive material. So that's for me is something that I'm very positive that all this excess of use of computers and artificial intelligence will bring back the people to more reality, to something that is more real. And at this point, there's another question: is can artificial intelligence create art if we don't define it as pure photography or photography simply, but define it it's art? It's something that it's a lot of years when I say there's too much Photoshop or something like that, the answer is yeah, but it's art. And art, no matter how you do it. Okay, in part can be true if you declare that it's art and all this kind of thing. But art, as is described also on the Merriam-Webster and other dictionaries, art is the conscious use of skill and creative imagination, especially in the production of aesthetic objects. And the most important part of this is the conscious. Art, in my opinion, must be a conscious creation. And a computer, as smart as it can be, cannot be conscious. And there's another thing that is important, that art must express beauty, and art must express an idea. And idea and beauty can be a lot of beauty, a lot of ideas, or more one, more the other, and so on. But that is essential. And a computer cannot create. An artificial intelligence doesn't have the ability to create something that is different from what the programmer designed in the program. So I don't think really that at this point in time artificial intelligence can be conscious and can create something that is art. But also, if you think that artificial intelligence is evolved at the point that can create something that can have a consciousness, and I think that can be very scary, but if you arrive to that, you have to remember one thing, that uh, we can define the human being as in two ways. We can think of ourselves as created by a creator, by a God that gave us a soul, so consciousness, all these kind of things, a soul. Or we can think about evolution. The man evolved, the humankind evolved in a way that developed this incredible brain, but it's just something mechanical, very complex, mechanical, and can be reproduced by a machine. Yeah, but then you have to think one thing, that we evolved for millions of years before we arrived at the point we are today. So also if we can reduplicate a mind, a human mind, right now, a system that is so developed, we still need to transfer into that what is millions of years of evolution. And that cannot be done in a moment. It's a quantity of information that goes beyond what you can find in any database. And that's another important thing. But for me, the most important thing why artificial intelligence cannot create art, cannot be able to create art, is the fact that the artificial intelligence is not just the brain, is every sensor. And that's the most important thing. You can have a lot of sensors connected to a computer, but you will never have that many sensors that we have in ourselves. So the feeling to create some art, to create a beautiful statue like Amore and Psyche, or the David of Michelangelo, and all these beautiful statues that you can think around, you need to know what it means to feel under your fingers, under your skin. You need to know what it feels to, what it means to really feel, to touch, to have this sensual feeling that is passing your hand on a body or something like that. And I say this with touch, but it's the same with hearing. We go around and we hear so many things, and we can elaborate so many data. You can be in front of a landscape to take a picture, and you have the feeling, the touch of the wind on your skin. You have you listen to the sounds, and you hear all the different sounds. You can hear the mosquitoes passing by. You can hear the wind on the grass. You can hear cars in the distance, or you can hear the perfect silence. It's something that you will never teach a machine, and at this moment is not even technically possible to have a machine that has so many sensors and can elaborate such a quantity of data. So I don't think right now this artificial intelligence art is something possible. To say that, I think it's kind of sad that we are putting so much on artificial intelligence. It's like with when we talk about the cars, self-driving cars, as if the driver can be the worst possible problem. that's something that can be totally wrong. There's for sure situation in you have stupid drivers that, for example, use their phones like that to write text while they drive, and that's sure is a danger. But uh, the human being is also capable to analyze situations very quick and discern what to do or not. So for me, we have the data for accidents. So the data we have and we analyze usually are the data where there was a failure of the human that was driving or piloting an airplane or this kind of things. So we see the human error because we study the accident, we study when the things didn't go well. But if we look at all the accidents that were avoided because someone was smart enough to react in the proper way to a situation, that is a huge number. I'm pretty sure that if you look at your experience, for example, driving, uh, you can see that yes, probably there's something that you did something stupid, and if you were lucky, without consequences for you and anybody else, that's probably happened to almost everybody. But if you look, you see a lot of situations where instead your reaction was the one that saved the day and saved the situation. And to take away this power to the humankind is very sad. And it's already sad when we think about something that in theory is just pure technical. But when we think about art, that is totally crazy. Art cannot be generated by a computer. And art is a lot of things. Do you think a computer, there are two different things. One is, do you think the computer can generate such beauty as a modern psyche or a similar statue? First of all. But second is, do you think that a computer can generate something that is an artistic concept? And as an artistic concept, I give you the idea of an author, an artist that I always liked, that is Manzoni. And Manzoni did something that was absolutely uh, artistically profound. This famous artist shit in the can. And the concept was, I'm tired to have all these critics, they decide what is good, what is ugly, and all these kind of things. And if you have a name in art, now I have a name, nobody cared for me before, now that I have a name, I can even sell my shit in a can. And by the way, the last one was sold for, I think, almost $500,000, something like that. And that is a concept that really was a way to change how art is considered. It was a huge critique to the critics, to the art critics. And something like that is something that an artificial intelligence cannot do. That's for sure. And that is something that made me think that all this artificial intelligence thing is inflated right now, and also made me think that more this is pushed and more we will finally go back to the real art, the real life. We will get out of the metaverse, we will get out of this virtuality we are stuck in right now, and we will go back to something that is concrete and is an art that means using your skill, using your tools, using your hands to create something that is beautiful. And it means taking photographs, that are that record the interaction of the light with something real. So I'm very optimistic about this, that everything will go in the right way. This said, please, if you have comment and discussion and all these kind of things, comment down there. I love to hear your opinion on this. And thank you very much for watching. And before the end, still, if you want to support the channel, Photography, the F Manual, nice book with all the basics about photography. Lasting Photographs, this is a novel with a photographic theme and very beautiful reviews on Amazon, so check it, it's nice. And Inject Fine Art Printing, this is everything you need to know to create Inject Fine Art prints, and that can be important, especially talking about artificial intelligence and virtuality and all these kind of things. It's nice to have something printed and not just scrolling images on a phone. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.